Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to run the MPV video player in a separate Linux network namespace. And this is a follow-on from a video down here, Openvpn split root on Linux and nixos for torrenting. Basically what this does is, instead of all your traffic going out of the VPN, what it does is create two routes, your normal route and a VPN. What we can then do is send any command line or graphical application through the VPN so we can unblock stuff. What I'm going to do is show you the issue. So I'm logged into YouTube in the UK here, and what I'm going to do is, you can see searching for episodes to watch, and we've got Hunting Hitler here, which is absolutely hilarious if you've never seen it. And as you'll see, in the UK we don't get the full episodes, we just get the clips. So what we want to do is actually be able to watch stuff from the US, for example, or wherever, whilst at the same time having our regular output as well. So we want to be able to view stuff in the US, but still have our regular browser as well. So what I'm going to do is close Firefox, and I'm going to start up the VPN, which will create the split VPN route. So DOAS VPN netns authentication. Okay, we start that up, and I covered all this in a previous video. So now what I'm going to do is launch Firefox. And as you'll see, I've got two desktop entries for Firefox, Firefox and Firefox VPN. Select Firefox VPN, come across to YouTube, give it a second. Okay, history channel. Okay, Hunting Hitler. And you'll see we've got all the full episodes down here because we're now in the US. Well, at the same time being in the UK, so you can be in two places at once. So I could watch these episodes in the browser, but that's no fun. I want to use MPV. So let's grab one of these links, switch across to the terminal, and try and play it with MPV. MPV, paste in the URL. Error. Video unavailable. The uploader has not made this video available in your country. So we're stuffed, right? We can only use the browser to view this. No. What we do is run DOAS namespace MPV URL. Give it a second or two. It's gonna come. There we go. So the video is now playing in MPV. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back here. I'm going to close this. I'm going to open the regular Firefox, which is in the UK. YouTube. You can see that's now loading up. Go to the history channel. This is just to show you that we're still hunting Hitler, and you'll see I don't get the full episodes, whereas we got the full episode here playing in MPV. So I covered this namespace script in a previous video, and what this basically allows you to do is run any command in the VPN network namespace. So you could replace MPV with another command that starts with yt. And as you can see, what this does is this allows us to be in two places at once and view content that would normally be geo-restricted, would normally be blocked, but at the same time be able to have our sort of regular browser. So, you know, bbc.co.uk. You see, this is going to go to bbc.co.uk, but if I start the other browser, if I start this up again, VPN go to bbc.co.uk, it's going to switch to bbc.com. Oh, it should do. Well, it usually does. Hang on, wait a second. Usually goes to bbc.com. Yep. And as you can see, it's loading up. So what this allows me to do is basically do stuff in one country but be in another country at the exact same time. So if I had two browsers, I've only got Firefox installed, but what I could do is I could have one browser running over the VPN and the other browser going at my regular connection. So let me just kill this and give you a brief recap. So bin VPN NS, and this is basically the script that sets up the split route. And what it does down here is it calls two scripts. It calls an up and a down function in another script. So netns VPN. What this does is this creates a separate network namespace so that VPN is going out one connection and our regular connections, going out our regular output. And I covered this fully in another video, so I'm not going to go over it all now. But the namespace script, the one thing you need to change down here at the bottom is the username down here. Because what this does is we're basically using the IP command with netns, which requires elevated privileges. It requires sudo or doas. Hang on. What is it with lighters these days? So what we do is we run a script as sort of doas or sudo. We're using doas in this case. And then what we do is we drop down to our user when we actually execute the command. So for example, you won't want to run Firefox as root or any other command as root. So basically what this does is when we were executing MPV, for example, it's actually starting off as root to execute these IP commands. Then it switches back to our regular user and then executes the command as our regular user. So it's not going to run Firefox as root, it's going to run it as your own user. It's not going to run MPV as root, it's actually going to run it as your own user. So that's basically how you can have a split route so that, you got your regular stuff, your regular YouTube on a connection like that. So that's the UK. If I want to switch across to the US, you can see here I just run this command, and as I showed you in a previous video, I've set doas up so that I'm not prompted for my password, and that's needed so that we can actually launch graphical applications, put them in a separate network namespace and not be prompted, to enter our admin password. So I just run this, come across here, VPN, I'm now in the US. So I could watch all the stuff that you get in the US on YouTube, let's say like, History Channel or let's see, History Channel, let's go to Curse of Oak Island, for example. I think they might have the Curse of Oak Island, if that gives us the full episodes. Yeah, you can see here full episodes all listed down here. But if I quit that, just go to Firefox. Same thing, History Channel. Curse of Oak Island. Yeah, see, we got all those again. And so if I want to watch, these are all the UK ones. And just switch across to here, paste that in, VPN, switch back. So again, we've now got the full episodes. We'll go see it, copy the link. I'll do MPV, right, gonna fail, not available. So as namespace MPV. Give it a second or two. There we go. And as I said, I'm not suggesting you would replace MPV with another command that starts with yt, but that's an option. And basically, as you see here, I can, you know, send any command I want over the VPN while still having my regular connection. So this is really useful. So that, you know, as I said, you can have two separate browsers set up. And what we've basically got is separate desktop entries. So what we do, as I covered in the previous video, we come to local share applications, Firefox VPN.desktop. These paths here for DOAS are specific to nixos. So if you're on another version of Linux, you put in the correct path, it would be something like user bin DOAS or user local bin DOAS. Then we specify the full path to the namespace script and then run Firefox. So what we have here is a way to create desktop entries with a and prepend DOAS and the namespace command, and that's then going to run that graphical application in a separate Linux network namespace over the VPN. So the advantage of this is it's piece of piss to set up. Well, it's not a piece of piss to set up. There's several parts, as I covered in the video, to get all this working, and a bit more on nixos, but managed to figure it all out. But basically what this allows you to do is create desktop entries for any graphical application, and just launch them in the VPN. And you don't have to do anything for command line applications. As I showed you, you can just do that. So as namespace, MPV, the link, press return, 2 or 3 seconds, or 4 or 5 maybe. Gonna kick in. So I'm not actually going to play it, but just wanted to show you that's how it works. So yeah, you can basically create desktop entries for any application. It's much more difficult if you're using a Snap or Flatpak. You've got to kind of create a separate script and like pass in pulse audio stuff and all this kind of palaver. So setting this up on a Snap and a Flatpak is possible, but it's just a bit of a pain compared to a regular install of Firefox. And I'm using Home Manager. I'm on nixos here, and I'm using Home Manager to install Firefox. And Nix PKGs and Home Manager work on any version of Linux. So what you can actually do is use Home Manager to set up Firefox. So just show you config Nix PKGs. What we've got here is Firefox. So this is my firefox.nix file, and in this what you can do, or what I've done, basically set up Firefox so it's completely customized how I like it. So we disable Pocket, the telemetry, all that kind of stuff. Can set extensions to be installed, as you can see down here. Got it set up to install extensions. You can also set it up so that all the options you'd normally put in about config are automatically added. So you can see here, this is the extra config. So this is the sort of thing you'd normally paste into about config or put in your user.js file but that's a pain because you've got to open the file, you've got to find the Firefox profile, open it, put it in a particular folder and all this kind of stuff. This does it automatically. So this basically installs Firefox with all the extensions, all the stuff disabled. You can see here, Firefox is basically set up so that if I close, hang on, got something there. So you can see here we've got the blank tabs automatically set up. All this kind of stuff in here, the home, all the search, the privacy, all these options. These are all set in this firefox.nix file. We've got all the settings for that. We've even got the user Chrome, so you can add all the user Chrome to remove elements from Firefox, like all contextual menus and stuff. So that's how I build Firefox, so that it's automatically set up with all the options enabled or disabled I want, and all the extensions installed as well. So installing Firefox with Home Manager and Nix PKGs is the best way by far to install Firefox on any version of Linux. It's better than any other package manager because it allows you to configure Firefox exactly how you want it. Because normally when you switch to a new machine, you set up all your dot files and you think that's it, but then you've got to go through and configure your desktop and your browser. And the other thing you can do with Nix PKGs on NixOS anyway is actually configure decomp. So what you can also do with Nix PKGs and NixOS is use decomp to completely customize GNOME. So with NixOS, what you can also do is actually customize GNOME and remove all the stuff. So as you see down here, we got a completely clean version of GNOME with just all the crap removed. And what I can also do is set all the things that you would normally set with GNOME tweaks and deconf. So what this does is this goes through and sets all the input sources, the touchpad, so we can disable natural scrolling, two-finger scrolling, set up all our key bindings, that sort of stuff. So that's just a brief look at Firefox and decomp on NixOS. But this has been how you can set up a split root on Linux or NixOS, and then send any command over the VPN, which is going to allow you to unblock stuff, but at the same time use your regular connection. So all your traffic's not going out the VPN. So that's useful if you want to connect to other machines and not have it go over the VPN. Or you just want to, you want to be logged into some site that's, only available in the UK or whatever. So that's how you can do it. And again, have a look at the previous video I did on setting all this up, which was, let me just come back here. So come across here, my channel. So this is a follow-on from the Openvpn split root on Linux and NixOS, and I did a follow-on from that about how you disable a system D service on NixOS, and that's so that you can disable the transmission system D service on NixOS, and instead start transition daemon manually. And this is so that we can then put transmission either through our regular connection or send it over the VPN. So what we can also do is actually have a split route for torrenting, so that you can be torrenting stuff but also have your regular connection, which means you could be browsing or watching stuff on iPlayer or Channel 4 or ITV, while at the same time be connected to the US or somewhere else and downloading your Linux ISO files over the VPN. That's all for now. I'll put links to any relevant bits under the video.